Wow, what is happening to me? I actually feel a wee bit sorry for Aberdeen. I've experienced a lot of things this season, but that's not something I was expecting. David, anything you want to say? Because I'm just done.
Well, I don't feel sorry for Aberdeen. That was the best moment of the game. Um, I thought it was like the Ibrox performance without the chances. It was so similar in terms of they had plenty of the ball, except this time they didn't do a lot with it. I thought too many attacking players were anonymous again. Ryan Christie, you wouldn't know he started. Mohamed El Yunusi, ever since people have been calling for him to stay permanently, he's been poor the last two games. Um, And again, it's the same old mistakes. A set piece into the box. We lose the header. It's so weak. I don't know who's
Mm.
been beaten in there because I've not had a chance to actually see the goal back just yet. Um, Not that I want to be honest, but we've been beaten too easily in the air, and the reaction to the second ball is so static, Hamish. Honestly, it's dreadful defending all round. And I'll tell you what, I'd actually wager a bet that more Celtic fans than not probably thought to themselves, well, that's game over because this team is so weak mentally. It really is. It doesn't like taking risks for some reason. Um, Thought Kennedy disappointed again. His starting lineup confused me. I didn't know. Even if we won tonight, I didn't understand how that affected the club positively in any way. Why is Scott Brown starting tonight? Why is Odson Edwards starting tonight when he's away in the summer? You won't increase his valuation anymore, Hamish. He could score 5 goals in the last 4 games each. That wouldn't increase his valuation. Chris Ayer probably would have started if he was available, but he was injured. Um, there was so many decisions I couldn't understand the starting 11, and the game just never had a good tone to it for me. I didn't have 1 second enjoyment outside of
Mm.
the late equaliser, and that was just because it wound up Aberdeen more than anything. Nothing positive towards us really. So disappointed again, but not unexpected, really, is it?
No, it's not. We're well used to it by now, David. Plexiplox in the comments there, just bringing up the point. Did you know that people paid money to watch that?
That's a guy.
If you were one of the people who paid, I think £12.99 to watch that game, then you kind of have my sympathies, but also you don't, because what the heck were you thinking? Celtic, I would not open my bedroom curtains to watch Celtic if they were playing Aberdeen or any other team in my back garden. That is how little I currently think of this Celtic team. The the hope tonight, the small hope that I had this afternoon was that we were going to see some players that we haven't seen recently, haven't seen ever. Some young players would maybe see Sorrow back in the team. I was convinced that Sorrow would come back in, given that Brown's played so often recently and given that it was against a team who Brown's going to play for. And I thought it might be a bit awkward going up against a manager he knows well, a manager who he's going to be working with. I thought he would play Sorrow. I can't get over why he plays players who aren't going to be here in a matter of weeks. I would have dropped Edward. I don't care if you even put an academy option there. Give someone an experience rather than playing a player who plainly
Aye.
isn't interested. And even if he is interested, a player who has absolutely no confidence. His confidence has been absolutely shot to pieces, Edward. I couldn't get over the lineup. I just groaned when I saw the lineup. The game was just a big, long groan as well. I'm just so happy. There's two positives, David. One for me is that I didn't pay that money to watch that tonight. I was thinking about it, but I didn't. The second positive is that we've only got 3 games left this season. We've only got 270 minutes that we have to watch this hopeless, hopeless bunch of footballers before we can get excited about a new manager and next season. And these 270 minutes are going to drag in like nothing else. But I'm just so happy that we don't need to waste any more time with this terrible team.
Yeah, I mean, well, the next one's Ibrox, isn't it? Before the game at Ibrox last Sunday, you had idiots like me saying, "Oh, we could win it, we could do X, Y, and Z." I think everybody's going into that game now with sheer apathy towards it. Just there's a lack of interest even in that fixture now. Um, I just don't get the sense that there's any urgency from the team. I don't feel when they're going into these games that there's a real desire to win it. It's not understandable either, just because we've nothing to play for this season in terms of the league. We're out both cups. It's not understandable that they go out onto the pitch and behave so passively on the ball. It's incredible incompetence from a Celtic team, Hamish.
Especially when you've got the players coming out before every single game saying, we're going to set the record straight. We're playing for Celtic. We've got the passion. I know we're not playing for anything, but we're going to finish the league strongly. Greg Taylor it was the other day. Nothing against Greg Taylor. He's just the one rolled out in front of the press to give these daft sound bites. But the thing is, we'll get it the last 3 games as well. David, I'm sorry. I actually don't want to waste any more energy, for me personally, getting angry or frustrated about this team. They're just not worth it. They're just a hopeless team this season. Give me some hope.
No, they're dreadful. They really are. They're so poor, and it's funny because some of the players that actually did come into the team from last season did improve it initially. Like David Turnbull, Ismail Asoro, I thought improved the team when he came in. Something's happened at the football club, and nobody can really put their finger on it. People say Neil Lennon happened to the football club. I think it's a lot more than Neil Lennon. I don't think one man can really destroy the foundations that were actually put in place by Rodgers and the team we had there. When Rodgers left, he didn't take the team with him, and we failed so badly to build on that. I think we're now at a stage where it's, I don't know what the day is. It's late April, mid-April just now, and the season's been over since late March, I believe. It's incredible. It's something I don't think any of us have experienced in a long time. I think it's worse than the 2009-10 season. I never, under Mowbray and when Lennon came in that season, I never felt such an apathy towards the club as I have now. And I think that probably stems from a lot of the off-field decisions as well. So we go into these final few games where we've really not much of a care in the world. I mean, the biggest motivation, and I'm so sorry to bring it up for people that don't like the word Rangers getting used, but the biggest motivation for Celtic fans now is making sure they don't match an unbeaten season. That's the absolutely only thing. And I know people like yourself might not care about it.
I don't even care.
Well, you might be part of a certain group of Celtic fans that don't care. I do. I'd quite like us to stop it if we can. And I think a lot of others will feel that way. But that's it. Other than that, I've absolutely no investment in these matches whatsoever. And I don't see why many Celtic supporters should when the players aren't showing any real desire to win the games.
I wonder what it says about our youth academy and our youth prospects that John Kennedy didn't deem a single player worthy of a start tonight. I know Stephen Welsh started, but I'm not counting him. He's been in the team for a fair few months now. Not one youth player was given a debut tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I think we saw Dembele for 10 minutes, didn't we? I think that was maybe it. Yeah, again, that's just another disappointment. So I think the only aspect of tonight that gave Celtic fans a reason to watch was this idea that some French players would get a shot, that some youngsters would get a shot. We see them all the time. Celtic are so quick to show you these youngsters in training. Look at all these exciting youngsters we've got coming through at Lennoxtown, training with the first team. Well, hopefully they get some games soon. Then you never see it. And to be fair, that's not only down to Kennedy. In years gone by when we've won the league early, there hasn't been a lot of youth integration either, if we're being quite honest. But tonight was the match for it. Tonight was the match to see maybe 20 minutes from Adam Montgomery, from Dane Murray, from Owen Moffat. I would have rathered
if we fielded a youth team tonight and lost. And I know people might say that's not very Celtic, but if I could have seen some young players and given them a bit of experience, and we'd have lost that game 1-0 or 2-1, I wouldn't really have minded. I just thought what we got tonight once again was just the same old rubbish, the same old short-term thinking of we're going to play Scott Brown, we're going to play John Joe Kenny, we're going to play El Yunusi, we're going to play Odson Edward, 4 players who probably won't be at the club next season. There's other ones there's massive question marks over that shouldn't be, probably aren't good enough. Players like Scott Bain and Nir Beaton and Ryan Christie, in my opinion. And these guys are just still playing. I thought it would reach a point this season where when everything was gone, we would at least see some youth players. But it doesn't seem like we're even going to get that at all. I'm done, unless you've got anything else to say, mate, because I'm actually, folk will be looking at this and thinking I'm angry. I'm actually not angry at all. I'm just so tired and I've got nothing else to say that I haven't already said about this Celtic team, so I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the fixture list at the start of the season, who would have thought the Pataudry game after the split would be sitting here with such apathy towards a football club? But it's a fixture that really should have been exciting. It should have been us going for the title and trying to get a big 3 points tonight. But if anything, it felt like a glorified friendly going into it. But it didn't even have the excitement of a friendly because we didn't see any fringe players. We didn't see any youth prospects. Not really. All right, the cameo from Dembele. Don't really want to go into that. I don't even think Dembele's going to be a Celtic player next season. So I would say the one cameo we actually did give to our Celtic youngsters, one that is going to be here after the summer. There's nothing positive about the football club outside of the hope that, the knowledge that change is coming. You know, we have the new chief executive in. He's not yet the chief executive, but he will be. And we're going to have a new manager come this summer. Any talk of John Kennedy getting it is
yeah.
So
there was a couple of people in the comments that were a wee bit concerned about us winning our last few games and Kennedy being an option. That ship has sailed. He is no longer an option. And to be honest, John Kennedy isn't the cause of this season. He isn't the reason why we've lost our last 2 games or why we've looked really poor in our last 2 games. But he really hasn't done himself any favours. And I'm talking about from his point of view as well in terms of his next job. I think people will be looking at these last couple of games. Yes, there's mitigating factors with the fact that this is a terrible Celtic team in a bad place. But the last 2 performances, the draw at Tannadice, the subs in all 3 of those games haven't shown him in a good light. Final thing, David, I just want to mention, a couple of people bring it up in the comments. Well done to the Celtic women's team tonight, who scored a goal, I think 10 minutes from the end against Rangers at Celtic Park to win the game 1-0, a big win in the league for them. They're near the top of the table, but tonight was a big game for them, so nice to have some bragging rights on the women's side. The winning goal was a little bit like Giorgio Samaras' famous one at Ibrox, where he takes it round the goalkeeper. It wasn't quite as appealing on the eye the way he slotted it in. The player who scored kind of cut inside and then dribbled it into the net with her right foot. But brilliant to see Celtic winning a game of football. Nice to have a Celtic team to be proud of, and positive for the women's game as well. And obviously in 67 Hail Hail, both on the YouTube and at 67hailhail.com, we always like to cover the women's team.
Yeah, I watched them at Glasgow City, and when it started up again, it was a tough first game for them. It was tricky conditions, I thought, as well. Very aggressive game, but they bounced back from that well. They've had a couple of good results under their belt, and it's terrific for them tonight. It's a big game. You know, Rangers are really trying to push their women's team, which is great as well. I think women's football really does deserve a bit of a boost, and Celtic are one of the clubs in Scotland, if not the Premier club in Scotland, leading the way for it. So fair play to them. They're by all accounts have been working really hard that side of the game, and it's a good result for them. I think
something to be positive.
I don't think there's nothing else to be positive about regarding the club. So hats off to them. Maybe the men can get a derby win in 10 days' time, but I'll no bank on it.
Yeah, that was the final thing I wanted to bring up. We play Rangers. It's actually 11 days, David, just to correct you there. 10 days after that, we host St Johnstone.
Sorry.
And then 3 days after that, we go to Hibs to finish the season. So we're talking 24 days, people, and then we can say goodbye to season 2021. We can go and have some sort of a summer. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be some sort of managerial announcement before then, and we can have some positivity back in our life. We will have positivity. We'll all be up for it again. This isn't going to last forever. That's the thing we need to hold on to. Celtic will be back, and I'm confident next season will be a much better season. But for now, we'll say goodbye, David. Thanks for joining me on this pretty dull live reaction. Thanks everyone for watching this and your good numbers. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're a first time viewer or whatever, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.